I'm super excited to bring to you the AIA Austin Homes Tour for 2025. It's on the weekend of the 25th and the 26th of October. If you're coming to Austin or you live in Austin and you love architecture, this is a tour you shouldn't miss. Now, if you want to listen to this series on the podcast or watch it on YouTube, please do, and understand that I have each of the architects presenting the homes that they have on the tour this year. So there's 10 architects, plus I have Rob Gomez and Ingrid Spencer, who are also commenting on these homes. Now, Rob has photographed every one of them, and Ingrid is the director of the AIA Austin. These two are super knowledgeable and add really beautiful insight to what these homes are about from observers who aren't architects. So please tune in, listen, ask comments, and book a ticket and come on tour and see each of these homes over the weekend, 25th, 26th of October 2025. Look forward to seeing you there. I've got Annie and Arthur here from Side Angle Side to talk about Harvey House. Now, Harvey House is an addition that just kept spreading, and it's a fabulous home, beautiful neighborhood, beautiful trees, something really interesting. And what I'm going to start out with is, Annie and Arthur, would you please tell us a bit about yourselves and Side Angle Side before you tell us about this amazing home that you've got on the tour? Who gets to go first?
Sure. Thanks for having us on. Well, I'm Arthur. This is Annie. We're Side Angle Side, and we started our business in 2016. I'm working mostly for homeowners, doing custom homes and focusing really on thoughtful floor plans and remodels and projects that respond to the environment.
Mm-hmm.
But really, we just are interested in working with people who excite us and who have a vision that we can share that excites us.
Yeah. I think that if there's a philosophy, it's that we listen to our clients.
Mm-hmm.
It's never like a stamp of, oh, here you have a side angle side house. At the end of the day, hopefully there is some semblance of that, but really it's our client's home. And so we're listening to their needs, whether they entertain or not, what kind of special spaces they need, nooks to read, like it could be very specific, very broad, but really it's their home, and part of that is just making sure that it's warm and it feels grounded.
Yeah.
I think that's something that we often talk about, especially if it's a new home. Like, how do we make this new home feel like it's been there for a long time?
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of capturing the essence of that particular family or couple or just what that home needs to be for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's their home, not your home. And
That's right.
and it's sitting on their ground, not your ground kind of thing. And so how do you be respectful to all those elements and still bring your genius to it, I suppose, is the game.
Mhm.
So how did you guys come to forming Side Angle Side? You're both architects. It's a partnership, and you guys are a partnership as well. So then, with that, how did it come about? What was your history? Where did you start?
Well, we met each other in architecture school in RISD in Rhode Island. We were in studio together, and we ended up staying together after college and started our careers working for different firms and doing different things, different scales of architecture, and ended up getting married and having kids. And I guess that at some point we decided we wanted to join forces and kind of combine that energy into one direction.
Yeah, this was like our third child business.
And the most unruly one. Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
right.
Exactly. No, it's been fun working together. There's always ups and downs, but honestly, we have different skill sets, Arthur and I. So I like to think about it that like I work with a fatter pencil and bigger ideas and I kind of come in from above.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes throwing in some wilder ideas, and Arthur has a sharp pencil and can like make sure that these things actually fit and actually work. I my past is in master planning and like
Mhm.
broad stroke developments, and Arthur's always been more involved in, you know, residential or commercial, and so it was always very specific for him. For me, that was like something that I've kind of molded myself into happily, but it took a little more time. So I think we complement each other well that way. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that analogy of the two pencils. I think that's wonderful. I've
Hmm.
yeah,
never, I think that's, yeah, like it is, you've got to have that sort of bigger, broader, fatter vision of something to then be able to refine it down and, get those hard lines in that are going to actually carry it to the end. That's yeah.
Hmm.
And what a perfect way to understand a partnership as well. It's like doesn't mean either of you can't cross the lines. It just means that you understand that. And then even for clients, it's like, be more driven at one point by this and then another point by this. And like with clients, they all start where they need to start in the project. It doesn't really matter what your process is. They turn up with a photo of a kitchen sink, and the kitchen's where the project kind of starts. It's like you don't get to go,
Hmm.
but hold on, where's that going to be in the land and all that stuff. You do get to do that, but you don't get to do, you got to go with their journey as much as it's your process of picking them up. And that broad skill set gives you that ability to play like that, imagine really nicely.
yeah.
So then Harvey House, that this is our tour home.
Hmm.
And if you're not watching on YouTube and you're just listening to this podcast, we're going to share some photos. So we'll talk to the photos, but if you need to and you can get to YouTube, it's going to get more fun as we get into that. But Harvey House, so whose whose home is it? Where is it? And what was the brief? Like what was the client asking for that made you guys go, yeah, we'll do this. This would be exciting to
Hmm.
work with. These people would be exciting to work with, and we think we could do something amazing. And he's got this little smile on her face that it's like, okay, go.
Well, I'm just thinking about them because we've been working with them and on this house for the last 6 years. And they're a young couple right now. So they were a very young couple when we
Yeah.
started working with them. And they were so sweet, and they fell in love with this 1935 bungalow. Um, and it really hadn't been worked on. The same person had been living in it for like, I think it was like 60 years. I'm not exactly sure, but it was a really long time.
So it might have
Um,
only been a couple of
but they,
owners old. It might have only been, like had two or
It was
three
one house,
owners.
right?
it only had like one owner. And I mean, it's
Wow.
pretty incredible, the story of the home. And they fell in love with it. We fell in love with the home. And we really loved that they wanted to keep it. Um, and just bring it back to life. But of course, there had to be an addition, and we needed to make it work with their lifestyle. And as we started drawing the house, they kind of stopped us, right? At a certain point when it was all designed and there was an ADU in the back and there was a addition and there was a pool, and they were like, hold on. They're only like the two of them. And this was a major house with bedrooms, and so they just thought to themselves, let's start with the ADU. And then once we have kids, that'll make more sense. But right now
Yeah.
it doesn't make a lot of sense,
When we're
right?
grown ups, when we
Um,
become grown ups, we'll do the rest.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, we worked on the ADU. We loved the ADU as a project, and we loved getting to know them.
And we ended up shifting focus to design the ADU as their main house.
Right,
So they were going to move
Yeah,
into
right.
this little 1,100 square foot back
right.
house,
Yeah. And
which they did.
they did. And while they were living there, they got a dog, and then they had a kid, and then they had another kid. And so, they did become that family that needed the bigger house. And so they came back to us and we started the original project over again. And, some of their opinions had changed about the property and about the house and the location
Kids will do
and
that
and
for you.
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely. And not only that, they are just wonderful people, absolutely incredible. And we're not the only ones that think that because in their community, they are like the center, they're the hub. And so all the neighbors and all their friends come and they congregate at their house.
Yeah,
And
wow.
so that was a big part of the project is, a kitchen that entertains, a living space and a pool, an outdoor hanging zone for cooking. I mean, they have friends that sing and are musicians and come over and play. It's just it's a house full of life. And we've been over a couple times, after the project's been complete and there's just kids everywhere. Like, I mean, the neighborhood children are coming through the through the yard on one side and another kid's coming from the other side. It's just a really fun place to be.
Mhm.
Um, so that was part of the brief,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
great because we didn't know that when we were designing it the first time. Like we didn't know them that well yet.
yeah.
But and then they and ended up moving into the back house and living there for a year or so. But we also continued to build our relationship with them so that by the time we went back to the drawing board for
Mm.
the front house, I mean, we really understood this community that they have. And, we ended up like actually redesigning what we had originally designed, but I'm so glad we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, even for them, I mean, they were new to that neighborhood themselves. So they wouldn't have
Hmm.
even known how it was going to end up developing into the community it
Right,
was. They didn't know that the neighbors were going to have kids, the similar
right.
ages or whatever. That all that, like, what a beautiful journey to be able to go from, really getting to know them and them getting to know that space as well and all the pieces around it. I think that's awesome. And makes for a much, I suppose, more intimate and depth in the journey of what the house is and becomes. Like, or it's not the house, it's the whole property. And in this case, it's the whole
Hmm.
street. Like it's the community. Yeah, it's like they've built the local bar or shop and everybody goes there kind of thing. Um, which
Right.
is
It's
cool.
actually that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah. How cool is that, eh? Like that. And isn't it interesting how in communities that either happens or doesn't happen? There's a thousand streets where it never happens. And then there are people who are just like these magnets that drag all this energy together. And you're lucky enough to have done a home for them. Um,
Hmm.
it's really cool. I love that story. I love the story of the fact that it didn't just all fall out in the first piece, that it was a progression. I would love you to take me on this kind of journey, and I'll get you to share some photos, but not quite yet. When we turn up in the street to on the homes tour, we're going to park somewhere, we're going to walk into it. What's the overall neighborhood like? This one was 1935, I think you said. So if it was 1935, is the whole neighborhood houses of 1935, or has it been gentrified, or has it been knocked down, rebuild? What are people going to expect in this neighborhood?
There are a few homes that are left, but most of the homes in the neighborhood are slowly turning to new construction. And I think to all of us, it was really important that this home stay because we all loved it. But we can explain just briefly that it was a project that became a bigger project because we were saving that home. As we would go layer by layer, the builder discovered all kinds of rot, all kinds of failure in the structure. So it was a labor of love. And I think that, when builders oftentimes say it's not going to be worth it, let's knock it down, clients knock it down because they don't have the stomach for it,
Yeah.
or it just becomes financially unreasonable. So it really fell into that category of love,
Mhm.
loving the home the way it was. But to us, it's important. If a client comes to us, we're going to first ask them if they would keep the original house. There's something about the fabric of the city that is quickly disintegrating and being erased, and these houses are just pretty wonderful. I mean, as architects, I think that we try to make homes feel like an old home. There's just something about the nature of the floors, of the ceiling, of the windows that just feel really special, and the scale of the rooms feel nice. And a lot of new architecture just is missing that. And so whenever we can save it and modify it to work in today's, the needs of families today, we push for that.
I, I
Um,
I love that, and I think that one of the things with that is it would be wonderful to be able to look into the future another, 1935, 90 years, 80 or 90 years, and be having the same conversation with some architects that said, well, there was this original house from here, and then in 2000 and, whatever it was, that this happened, and what we've done now is because of these people, we've brought these things together and we've kept both those heritage pieces to this. That would be the story of the future that we'd all love to hear, because it's building on building,
Mhm.
and it's honoring what was there and taking that history lesson and adding to it to make it, you can't expect it to stay the same, but you
right.
can live with the hope that it's worthy of keeping, and that it
Yeah.
carries that love and community and all the rest. You think of the energy these guys are bringing to that home, and it'll be a home that, in processional value, kids will talk about it for their whole lives. It will have influenced the way whole families and generations interact and what they want in their places, because it will have anchored into it. I think that's a beautiful thing. I think if that can happen, we're winning.
Yeah, you said that well.
But
That was good.
that's that grounding thing. And you started our first piece of this conversation, not when we were recording, about grounding and, making something feel grounded and connected and honoring the spaces and all those things. And I go, yeah, it's evident in what you just said next. So I applaud you guys on that. I like that piece of it. Lots. Do you want to
And
share
also
some? Oh, sorry,
that
go.
that was actually probably one of the biggest pieces of the client brief that is was maybe obvious, but that keeping the integrity and the spirit of the house, even though we were redoing the floor plan and we were moving doors around and there were a lot of things that we were introducing that were new that we saved and relocated the crown molding and all the door trims and took out all the original floors and put them back in again. So it was like, yeah, it's a completely different house and it's a completely new house, but it has all these little pieces of the old, and most importantly, it has like the spirit
Mm,
of the old
mm,
house. And so when you walk in, it's like, yeah, you kind of don't quite know what's like where the old and new starts and stops. And I think that was like that was kind of the magic of like it's not, it wasn't just like a preservation project with an addition. There's this blur.
yes.
But I think that the spirit of the old actually bleeds into the new as well. So there's kind of, works both ways.
Hmm.
I love that. Like if we went to Europe and we were in a little French town or an Italian town or something, and there was something that was, 300 years old sitting there, maybe even 100 years old sitting there, and we said, oh, we're just going to knock that down and build something new, we'd probably have a riot on our hands. What it would be is we would look
Yeah.
at that thing and it would have been renovated multiple times over a long time, over its lifespan, to meet different needs. And we would expect that from it. That's our expectation. Whereas
Mhm.
in America, Australia, New Zealand, England, all the rest. There's England probably a little less, but there's, especially when you're not like maybe up east, there might be more of an expectation of that. But like the expectation is well, we can just do whatever we want. We can just knock it down. We can just do it. And when people preserve it or grab hold of it, and then that spirit piece that you said, that timber that started there, that ends up there, the sensibilities of it that started there and end up here as well. I think, personally, I just think that makes magic. I think it leaves history, and it probably brings that spirit and probably also enhances how that house feels for everybody that comes to it now. That's adding more spirit to it. So let's share some photos. Let's show us what it's like from the
Sure.
street. So we're gonna come into this neighborhood and we're gonna find this home kind of nestled in the trees. It's kind of just set back that little bit with the trees. And we're going to be on the tour, so we're going to be, shoes off and plastic bags on our feet or our socks. What are we going to see first when we arrive in the street? And so explain this photo
Well,
to
so
me for sure. Yeah.
yeah, so just to give you the context, on the right-hand side is the existing house with the white siding, and then off to the left is the new portion. And so there's kind of this on the far left, there's this bedroom and office wing that kind of runs back the property, and it's got this little connector piece that you see, this low connector piece that's sort of
Hmm.
like connecting the old and the new.
And
And it's
yeah.
black.
Yeah, it's like super dark gray,
Oh,
burnished
right.
stucco.
And
Oh,
the contrast was important to us so that we were not trying to mimic the existing home, the original home, and make sure that it stood out as an addition. And we weren't trying to do any kind of historic copycat, for lack of a better word.
yeah, no, it's cool. Like, and like as you come to this home, depending on whether you come from the left or the right as you come down the street, you're either going to arrive at the end of the home or the white end of the home first. And in doing that,
Hmm.
yeah, then you'll come in. When we come into the house, so you're just showing now a photo of the black end of the house with the gable, etc. When we actually enter the home, are we going to enter into the white piece of the house, or are we going to enter into the black piece of the house?
So it was actually really important for Holly Beth and the clients, really, for both of them, that we enter into the old house. There
Hmm.
was something really like, I don't know, what's the word? I don't know, like it was just going to be more powerful for them and it felt more correct, like the right answer to go through the main door.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And we hadn't designed it like that originally. And so we went back and we like got on board with that. And she wanted the porch. And I was like, this, I think we both agreed this is the way it has to be. Um, and and it makes a lot of sense. That's
Hmm.
Yeah. So we're
just
going to
keeping
come.
true to the original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the transition also probably, like as you said, Arthur, the blurring of lines in there inside is not going to be so obvious. There's pieces of that thing that carries through. So we're going to enter through the original door of the old home. So we're going to come into
Hmm.
the white side.
Hmm.
And it used to be that you'd walk in the front door and you were just in this dark hallway that went all the way from the front to the back of the house. And it was, doors on both sides all the way down this hallway. And so we're looking at a photo now of walking into the front door, and this is where that hallway was, but it's been basically we've taken it over and made this little foyer. And I don't know
Hmm.
if you can tell, but there's a skylight up above
Hmm.
that kind of,
Plugs
raises
that.
light across the back of this wall.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas
Yeah.
previously it would have been a dark hallway with, if the door at the other end was open, light would have poured through that way. But now it's actually coming in from the
Mhm.
top. Yeah, nice.
That's right. And you can see the original longleaf pine floors
Mm-hmm.
in this
Mm-hmm.
image.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. What's next? So from that, will we
Walk
turn
into the
left or
kitchen.
will we turn right?
Well, it's choose your own adventure. You've got to the right is to the primary suite, and then to the left takes you into the kitchen, living, dining, and then onward into the addition. So
Okay,
we can
cool.
go,
We're on your
yeah,
you
adventure
may go
this
left to
time.
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is kind of looking back. So this space here to the right of the kitchen, that's where we just were. We just entered in through here,
Gotcha.
and but we're looking back at it, and where these stairs are stepping down. This is kind of the point between the old and the new. So you'd step down into this new, we're in the kind of connector portion.
Uh-huh.
The living room is like what's connecting the kitchen to the rest of the bedroom wing beyond.
And the living room, it has two windows that you can look out to the street, but really it's private towards the street and very open towards the backyard. And the backyard is a courtyard. It's a
Yeah.
U-shaped building, and there's a big tree in the middle, and that's kind of, designed to keep an eye on the kids in the pool the whole time.
So yeah, exactly. So from the kitchen, they can see the kids in the pool. They can, observe the whole back U shape. As you said, that private courtyard.
Mhm.
Cool.
This photo is kind of starting to pivot the other way,
Hmm.
looking. This is the fireplace wall would be have its back to the street,
Yeah.
and then get little like vertical glimpses out towards the street, but it's pretty much
Pretty
pretty
private.
solid there.
And so when we looked at you don't need to go back to it, but when we looked at the original photo where we had the black and the white of the house from the street, you can see these two lines of light that come through, and the fireplace is in
Mhm.
the middle of that. Yeah, got it. It's good for the orientation. What else have we got? Oh, yeah, okay, go there. Yeah.
Their picture of the backyard. Well, there's a pretty fun den off of the main living area. So it's family room. It's where the TV is. It's also where the kids have all their toys. And one of the fun aspects of this home is that the kids have their own space in the attic above the den. And so in this image, you see
Netting.
like a
And that,
netting that
yeah.
they can hang out there and watch TV from above.
So
And like
if you can't see this photo, you've got a net ceiling that you can look up through, and the walls downstairs are painted dark, but beautiful rug on the floor as well, which kind of plays out the net above it, and then you're seeing like
Mhm.
into the attic. How do they get there?
Well, I don't know if can have a picture, but just on the TV wall, which is to the left, there's a millwork, and the TV's kind of built into this millwork, and there's a ladder that goes up into this lofted space, and there's a couple of like twin beds. There's some, it's like a little play area, and then that just kind of spills out onto this. Basically, it's like a big giant hammock
Yeah,
strung
wow.
across the ceiling.
a
So,
pretty cool red
mhm.
ladder. I love that it's a red ladder.
Yeah,
Isn't
a
this
little
the kind
glimpse
of
of.
thing where, as a kid, it's like playing in fantasy land? You'd love to have had that as a kid. I get you, right? No,
Oh
I see
yeah.
it. Yeah. Yeah. And
Small
there's the red
spaces
ladder.
are fun for kids.
Yeah, like
Mm.
Mhm.
it is. It's really cool to be able to go and climb up something and play in it and all the rest, and use a space that otherwise wouldn't have been used. Like it is a space that would have just been a ceiling space or roof
That's
cavity.
right.
This is the kitchen.
Yeah, we have a couple images of the kitchen. I think kitchens are just, the heart of the home and they're warm. This image shows the reclaimed wood floor that was replaced, like I guess, you know,
Yeah,
stored and then
Reinstalled.
reinstalled. Thank you. And there, there's some traditional elements to the home for sure. There's like a blue island, and they cook a lot, and so it's a pretty enormous island,
Yeah.
which I love. I want to cook there.
I love the fact that
And then,
the island's, like on legs, so it's not like
Hmm.
fully anchored to the floor. It kind of plays almost like
Hmm.
like a piece of furniture, which is what it's being. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's exactly what we were going for and what the clients kind of wanted. Yeah, and there's kind of yeah, it serves a lot of different functions on all the
Mhm.
different sides because it's so long. So it kind of has like the kitchen table. It's got like all the working base cabinet and electrical components and stuff like that. But yeah, it reads like a piece of furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if we mentioned this earlier, but our client, Holly Beth, is an interior designer, and
Oh,
she was working for somebody else at the time and took on her own project, which makes sense, obviously.
mhm.
And we just loved what she did and all her selections and really her attitude towards interior design and her point of view. And after this project, we asked her to come work at Side Angle Side, and she agreed. So she's our interior department.
That's a really
Yeah.
beautiful story. That's a really fabulous story. Like you got to work together and then actually you now work together, like it's
Right.
it's formal other than, just the client relationship. It's now like you work together. That's really cool. She's done a
Yeah.
beautiful job. The tones, the colorings. I really liked also with that transition where you go down, how you picked up the timber
Hmm.
ceiling there and a concrete floor versus a white ceiling in the other piece and then the old timber floor. So just those little contextual changes as you slide from one space to another space and old to new. And when there's a whole bunch of people in the house, walking around on the tour, take pause and have a look and see how these things are done, sort of try and get all the people out of your view and then notice the magic that's been kind of baked into the architecture here. What's this photo?
That's right. So we wanted to share this one with you because this room is in the original home, and it's probably the most true to the original home. So the shiplap that was there was replaced, and here it is, and all of the trim is original, and and it was replaced, and you can see it has this like really pretty profile that's kind of rounded, and we thought that was special and unique to this home. This is the dining room. It has a giant Noguchi, which is a pretty fun scale. And it's basically the dining room where the dining room was with almost everything original.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
So we like
Right.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. That's really cool. So it was the dining room and still is the dining room. That's neat.
Yes.
After all the changes that you
Yeah.
have.
And Adrian, you'll tell us if we're showing too many photos, but we definitely want to circle back and go into the primary suite. I think that's,
I think there's
Yeah,
just
do
three
that.
shots there.
Yeah, just show us those ones
yeah,
and then the rest you can come on tour and discover. But
that's
yeah,
right.
this is
That's
this
right.
is turning left at the door. If you turn left at the door, this is where
Yeah.
you end up. Yeah.
Um, and so just a sweet little bedroom moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a sequence of photos that kind of make sense, but this is really just showing this cool little headboard piece that Holly Beth designed, for just like a ledge and some texture behind the bed. So it's like a built-in headboard. And then you and then
We
you
can just jump to that one
What
maybe.
was
and then this
this?
is the
Was it a new room? What was that room previously when you came in?
so
Was it like a front living room
that's
or
a good
something?
question.
So on the right side of the home, the original home, were a series of bedrooms. And
Mhm.
it was three bedrooms, so two bedrooms, two bathrooms, and a sleeping porch. And all of those rooms were combined to make the primary.
Right. Okay, so we come in the door. If we go right, this is where we end up. And they were three
Yes,
rooms that you combined to put all the things that the primary suite needs these days. So that would have been
correct.
close to half of a house or a third of a house or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That
half a
shows how
house.
we've
Yeah.
shows how we've changed our living environments, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love
Um,
I love
Okay.
this photo and the way the light spills in again, so the skylighting that you've done to bring, daylight and sunlight in is just fabulous.
Well,
Thank you.
and this bathroom has a neighbor that's pretty close by. And
Mhm.
so we needed a lot of natural light and we needed a lot of privacy. And so the skylight was definitely the move, and it's as big as the tub. So in this image, there's a marble tub and a lot of light pouring down from the skylight. And every surface in this bathroom is a plaster,
Hmm.
Yeah, right.
which works really nice with light, plays really well.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
blooms, doesn't it?
and you can see this
Mhm.
light, finds its way into the shower you
Hmm.
see here, and then the water closet's sort of opposite that on the left side. So both those spaces borrow daylight from this central skylight.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, really cool.
And I mean, I think,
I
here's
think that's it. Mhm.
another view
Another-
of the same thing.
Yeah, cool. It's certainly, when you think that this 1935 cottage that you're going to come into, if you turn right, you're into something that's got the full mix of the heritage right through to the super modern, but all in contextual feel. Like it's a really lovely journey. It's not. Yeah, you're getting to adventure through it. You said it before. It's design your own adventure, how you choose to walk through this
Yeah.
home. And yeah, taking time to pause and see what's happened. Because you could be in that ensuite and you could be going, oh, I'm not in this house that I walk through the front door of anymore. It's so now and modern and but still soft and beautiful. It's still got that feeling. I'm just saying that from the photographs, and I'm the first one to say, look, photographs are wonderful, but you cannot experience the feel of a home through a photograph. You can only just imagine your past experiences. And so that's why a
Yeah.
tour like
So
this is
true.
such a incredible thing because if somebody knocked on your door and said, "Can I bring 4,000 people through the next couple of days?" You'd probably tell them to go away. These people are so, so generous in allowing
Yes.
you into their homes and you get to actually, you don't necessarily get to experience it, how they live in it, but you get to feel the home. You get to feel it in its place. Get to feel that groundedness, especially if they've made you take your shoes off. But you get to feel that
Yes.
groundedness. Yeah, so I think that I think it's an incredible treat, and that home's fabulous, guys. It's beautiful. It's going to be
Thank you.
Thank
a really lovely home to be in. I can imagine that, it would be a place where the thing carries on and they'll end up with some musicians and, Sunday night, everybody would be back at their place. Like,
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. It was really, really fabulous. And it's pretty indicative of the kind of work that you guys like to do. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we're always evolving the kind of work that we do. And so I think this is represents something that we're really proud of.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that the
Yeah.
relationship pieces of it, like the relationship with the clients and, all those pieces, I see how lit up it makes you two to have that connection
Oh
and
yeah.
also that process that it started and then kind of stopped and then started. And in that you got to actually be a deep part of that journey. Like,
Definitely. We always say to clients, if we're not having a good time designing your dream home, we're not doing it right. I mean, it's just like this is their opportunity to do what they've been thinking about and dreaming about and feeling, the space that you've always wanted to entertain in or to cook in or to read in. I don't know. I think that
Most people only do it one time in their
they
life.
do it one time,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so it's nice to have a connection. It's nice to get to know each other. And this was a great experience, I think, for us.
Mhm.
Um, especially like it was just really great. I
Mhm.
don't know.
Mhm.
Well, the house, like from what we've just seen, like reflects that. And then I imagine when we get inside it, we're going to feel that as well. And I'm 100% with you on that. If we're not having fun, we can't make magic. And if we can't make magic, we should have never started trying, you know? It's kind of like we're all in it together, but you're the ones who are left behind with it. And it's got to have all those
Mhm.
magical moments for you because you get to live in it from here. And as you just said, you know, I thought most people only ever get to do this once. And some people, sure, they get to do it
Mhm.
more than once. They only get to do it more than once, and I shouldn't say only. If they do it more than once, it's usually because of some other major change or the first one didn't. That was just a learning journey to get to the next one, you know.
That's
That's
right.
right.
And if you get the first one right, they never want to leave unless there's some major change in their life, you know, like they end up with more family or whatever that, you know. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing you guys on the tour and enjoying the feel of that home. And if there is an after party there, I want to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much.
Yeah.
Hey, thank
Thanks,
you
Adrian.
guys.
We
It was
appreciate it.
really
Yeah.
fabulous to meet you. So I hope you've really enjoyed that. And if you'd like to stick around for about another 5 or 10 minutes, you can hear what Rob Gomez, the photographer who took the photos of all these homes, has to say about this particular home. And he's joined by Ingrid Spencer, the director of the AIA Austin, and their comments are really fascinating how they viewed these homes, much like the public would. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed. Take care. This home is the Harvey House, and I have Ingrid from the AIA here and Rob who photographed this house, and they're going to give us a couple of great insights to what this home is about. Guys, thank you for doing this. I'm really excited to hear, Ingrid, how did this house get chosen for the tour?
Right. So great, Adrian. Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to hear from Rob too, after he spent the past 3 weeks photographing all 10 of these houses. So this house is pretty stellar. It's a 1935 bungalow that was restored, and it has an ADU. That's a big theme in the tour this year, is like accessory dwelling units, the modern rear addition to the house. But the way that the old and the new are put together, it's just really kind of interesting. I don't want to say that it's seamless because you can tell what was there and what is new, but the way that it's done is so gentle and honoring the past and yet updating. This house has like a muted palette that's really beautiful. The architect for this house is Side Angle Side, and it's a husband and wife team. And the owner of the house is actually an interior designer who now works for the firm.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know exactly if in the process of them designing her house, she started working with them, but I think that's what happened. So interesting stories with these houses, but I don't know. I just find it to be such a beautiful mix of old and new. It kind of has a courtyard in the back. The back of the house is very protected. Um, and there's no fences in the back. So it feels like it just goes and goes, but it's the neighbor's yard as well. And it feels like you could go back there and just have a picnic and enjoy life.
There's something really beautiful about a home that, you know, when you don't have any yard fencings, and it feels like that you're more of a community even than when you do have them. It's like there's a trust between the neighborhood that exists. And I think it makes a magic feeling. You don't see it so often anymore.
It's true. It's true. It's interesting. I've been thinking a lot about, I grew up in Sunnyvale where they had a lot of Eichler houses, and Eichler was a developer who did these kind of houses that kind of ignored the street a little bit. It was more about the back or the courtyards. And this house doesn't ignore the street, but it is more of a protected kind of keeping it into the back, blending the interior with the exterior.
Yeah, awesome.
Don't you think, Rob?
So
Yeah,
Rob,
Did you say?
for sure.
I would
Absolutely.
I would love, Rob, your viewpoints because, as a photographer, you walk into a space and in some way you've got to capture the magic of it. You've got to try and give the house a feeling, so that people who only ever see it through pictures get a feeling for what it feels like so they can emotionalize it. And I think that's such a clever thing of photography to do that. You're not just getting a picture, you're trying to tell a story. And you get to go into these homes and then go, okay, well, what am I going to do with this? And we're only going to share, like, say, 3 photos here
Right.
of this home, but these are little ones that tell the story and of how the home feels. So I'd love that viewpoint from you if you could. I love the fact that this first photo has the dog in it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I just kind of picked some of my favorites, which was hard with this particular one because I really loved photographing this home. Um, and I tried to sort of share some of the ones that really captured the essence of it. So like the dog here, Koji, that was following me around the whole shoot, one of the sweetest golden retrievers I'd ever met, which is saying a lot, for golden retrievers. And we, got him to be good for the photo there, kind of sit perfectly there where we wanted him. And with this home too, I was lucky because, as Ingrid was mentioning before, Holly Beth, who's the owner, that then became an interior designer with Side Angle Side, was there. Obviously, she lives there, so she was there helping out, sort of stage every room as I went along. So for me as a photographer, whenever I get that sort of luxury, it's just really makes everything pop. All the little things that just kind of bring life to it. Like for this next photo, which is there. Again, it's hard to see. You'll see later on when you see sort of all the photos and the home especially. But this is above their sort of TV room. They have these little step ladders that go up to the kids' little play room situation. And in the back there, they also had 2 little beds, sort of like an extra it wasn't their primary bedroom, but for their 2 girls to, have a sleepover there if they wanted or something like that.
Nice.
And again, the trend you'll see in a lot of these photos for me when I walk into a home after, all the architectural and design elements, one of the main things that draws my eye everywhere is like the lighting everywhere, the natural light and how it kind of plays in a space. And I just loved how, with this house in particular, no matter how big or, small the area, this is just like, the kids' playroom, but it's very intentional, very like you have the 3 sort of skylights there with the very soft light throughout the whole room. And just obviously all the staging there is all Holly Beth. I was very much like lived in space there. But then with the next one as well, again, with this sort of a trend of like just the light, it felt like one of those homes that isn't always the case for me during shoots, but where everywhere the light just seemed kind of perfect naturally as it was. Kind of even no matter the time of day. This one, I feel I did try to capture when it was looking this way. but I just loved how the light interacted with the rooms and the textures in this particular house.
Is this the primary bathroom or is it
That's the primary bathroom, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I love that.
love it.
Sorry,
Isn't
go.
it great when light comes in and you don't really know where it's coming from, but it's there? It's just so beautiful.
And
Yeah.
that's what happens with that plaster work in there. So, you know, if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're not watching it on YouTube, go and have a look and you see the beautiful stone, the way the bath is set in, and then the way the light is falling through the room. As you said, it's pretty magical, isn't it? And this is the modern kind of part of what is an older home.
Mm-hmm.
And then just to kind of end with the everything that Ingrid was leading up to about the yard and the neighborhood and their neighbors. This home, it was funny because I feel like I got the full true experience of what a day in the life of this family was. So sort of I was shooting, maybe not having a photo shoot in their home, but after that, after we were kind of wrapping up, their neighbors came over. They all had like dinner together. Their kids came over. They were all like playing while I was kind of getting some shots outside and stuff. But I got to see sort of really, truly, you know, how they live in that space, and the kids run around and everything, and play with the dog. And so this was a real special end to that shoot for me.
I love that. That's community. Yeah, that's really fabulous.
You know, there's another special thing about this house is that they used whatever they ripped up, they used in the addition.
Okay.
So there was flooring materials that was reused, which I think is pretty great. And I think they also used some salvaged material from a next door tear down. So a lot of
I love the sustainability element there. Yeah, that's really cool. And it brings history to the home as well. It brings story and history and character. That's great. Thank you for tuning into our conversation. I hope it left you both informed and inspired. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen. And please don't hesitate to share your design thoughts with me. It's always a joy to hear from you. If you're like me and crave a deeper dive into design thinking, coupled with a love for travel and adventure, consider one of my architectural adventures. Join me and some of my wonderful design friends and embark on a journey of a lifetime. Apply for an unforgettable design experience at adrianramsey.com. With our clients spanning the globe, I firmly believe behind every great project are great people. If you're a great person and seeking to turn your dream into a reality, I'd be honored to design your home with you. Why not join the ranks of our exceptional clients and let's make your heart sing? Reach out to me at studio@ardesignhouse.com. That's studio@ardesignhouse.com, and let's get a conversation going and make your heart sing.